Only bad thing about Fort Sumner is they carry babies. Yeah.
Well, they had,
Because we're fast.
I guess they had a rough game against Magdalena because they dropped to second and Roseburg is first now.
I don't know what happened, they quit drinking out of the water there or something, they're all scrawny and little.
Where?
I was there, Fort Sumner. I don't know why.
Mario probably had you all on
I
speed.
think that's.
Yeah.
They're way bigger.
Mario was sneaking in steroids.
That'll be a good game on Friday, man. The girls had a heck of a game last night.
Won?
Yeah, they won 5. They lost the first 2 and then won the last 2. They played really
Oh, the girls won?
Yeah,
They lost to the boys here.
yeah. They almost lost to the ones there, but then they pulled it together that. And, well, GB looked up, Junior High looked up. Yeah, it's hotter. I stood by the back door with the little breezes blowing the whole
It's
time.
hot in ours too, isn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. But we gotta get that event. Well, Scott, do you guys use Canvas? It's the what they use to do all like the assignments and that?
No.
It's horrible. They use it for the evaluations, and I can't get, a couple of the Halberts on there, we can't find them. They're on my, you can tell they're on my, in the school, the district, but we can't find them in the schools that we assign them to. And I call them for help, and they have no idea what they do. They blame it on Power School, and I don't think it is Power School. Cause that, Canvas is the one that actually the state, I
You're
think.
talking about where they put their self-reflection and
Yeah.
all of that?
It's not like it used to be, now they go through the Canvas. And so we have to kind of like, have to assign the teachers like a course into all the elementary here in the
Oh,
court.
yeah,
It's not a good thing.
yeah. We haven't been assigned any of those this year though, so.
These are the ones for.
Is Claudia coming?
She's gonna be just a little bit late because she has a meeting with the city to get permission to block off the roads for the parade. So they put her first on the agenda and she'll be here before her report.
Same time.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I hope my children are burning the house.
The what?
That I hope my children are burning the house down.
Did you leave them unattended?
Yes.
Oh, no.
I have a teenager now though.
That's even
He's
worse.
probably the one that'll burn the house.
That's the one that'll get the house.
No, he won't get off the video game long enough to burn anything down.
Well, if he's playing really good and burning up the video game, you might.
Keelan's the one that'll burn it down because she's always cooking. I got home from school, I went up there and she was making waffles.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty
Nice
good.
after school
Yeah.
treat.
She couldn't just eat any of the snacks and things, but I don't like those, I wanted waffles. You clean it out.
No egos, huh? Okay, are we ready? Is everybody ready? Let's get this party started. All right. I call this meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda has been approved. Presentation approval of the minutes for regular meeting, August 17th, 2022.
Madam President, I move to approve the minutes from last meeting.
I second.
Been moved by Mike Barnes, seconded by Lisa Irwin to approve the minutes for the August 17th meeting. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes for August 17th, 2022 have been approved. And moving to limited public forum,
Madam President, since there's no audience, I make the motion to dispense with the limited public forum.
Second time.
been moved by Rick Baker, seconded by Mike Barnes to dispense of limited public forum. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We will dispense of limited public forum. Superintendent's report, Ms. Smith.
Madam President, members of the board, good evening. I'm gonna go ahead and start my board report by giving updates. The first update I'd like to give is gonna be on Power School. For the most part, Mr. Doherty has worked out most of the kinks. There's still a couple of things that are going on with the enrollment and how we get our information to do the counts for lunches and so forth, so he was working on that. He's been working with a couple of people, like Carlos and Darren, which are resources that we have, that I've known them, and then now just as good friends with them also. But he also reaches out to the Power School chat line, and so we're trying to work those things out. Yesterday and today, we did the best we could to attend a STARS, I guess it was like a training that they had, but a lot of the stuff that they presented on those 2 days were things that were add-ons to Power School. And so Justin did talk to Darren, who deals with not just STARS, but he deals with Power School. And there's a SWIFT program that's that's out there that he uses, and it's pretty affordable. So we're gonna look at that to see if it's something that's gonna help us. But for right now, we're just going based on the package that we did purchase with Power School. So like I said, there's a lot of things that I think Justin, and I say Justin because he's the one that's taking the lead on it. He has done a lot to get everything cleaned up and so forth, and so he's been pretty tied down with that. Not to mention he's been moving, changing out all the servers, and we're getting pretty close to being on all new servers, and that time will go away once we have all that going, and he gets them powered up and running, and hopefully the internet, broadband, everything's gonna be a lot better. So he's been, we've got him going in every direction. We've got some things that are due that are gonna be coming up. We have the attendance improvement plans that are due. That is due on September 30th. We'll be working on those next week, myself and the administrators. And it's something that we are updated and add anything, interventions that we may have that will help, improve attendance with the kids and so forth. And then we have the literacy plan that is due October 15th. And then we have another report that we need to do, that's the instructional materials report. That one's gonna be due October 21st. And so there's just a lot of different little reports that we have to do. They did tell us that they were supposed to cut us back on by 25% on reporting from, I guess, that was the governor's order or whatever, but we haven't seen any cutbacks. It's like, it is what it is. They ask us to get them done, we do them, and that's all there is to it. On September 30th, we also have to get the updated plan for safe returning to in-person instruction and continuing services in person, which is basically our reentry plan, which we already have also Now they've given us a new template that we have to follow. Mrs. Hyman's already downloaded it or has looked at it, and we'll be getting those two out of the way this coming week so that we can meet those deadlines. And so those are some of the things that we, that we're working on, little fires that we need to either put out or we need to get done before the deadlines are there. So is there any questions on any of these? If not, I put, on my report, I put down as business manager, and I know Mrs. Matthews is gonna go ahead and talk, somewhat on some of these things also, but, her and I will be attending the NASBO, Fall Conference, the 28th of September, and it'll be in Albuquerque at the Crown Plaza. And that is the fall conference for, business officials and superintendents and so forth, and so, this will be her first one, and hopefully she'll get to go and network and meet a bunch of different, business managers, and have some more resources there. She has been working very, very hard. She's done an excellent job in getting to learn how to do what she needs to do. And so, I'm very pleased that, we're getting the district where it needs to be. We've been working with Maria a lot, and George is still there once in a while, right?
No.
Not no more?
Not
Okay,
no
so,
more.
cut George out. So, she's, like I said, she's been really doing well. Our P cards, if you remember, a couple of meetings back, we talked, George actually started the process. We finally got him in, and I was able to, try him out on Friday on my way to the Manal game. I stopped at Sam's Club and bought some stuff for the central office and used the P card. It worked like a charm. As a matter of fact, I was trying to get, the BMO administration here. It gives me the statement right then and there on how much I charged on it, whatever, but I don't know what it's doing. But it did work, and so we have P cards, operational expenses, and we also have P cards for athletics. And what the goal is there, and I know we're gonna have to do requisitions and so forth. The P card, it's a little bit of a convenience that, we can, have the money in there, give the coach the credit card, and they can, as long as it's a company that we have a W-9 for, they can choose from where they wanna eat, and then we'll be able to, generate the requisition and do whatever we need based on what we get back from the restaurant where they eat and so forth. So it gives us a little more, flexibility and so forth, but it's still gonna get back to the issue, we still have to have W-9s and everything for whoever it is, whatever vendor we use, so, that's exciting. And I did get a letter of award, about a week and a half ago from PSFA. They are giving, believe it or not, giving money away, and so our allocation that they gave was $100,000. So I sent the information over to, Ms. Johnny Led here, and we just, I did have to put on there what the purpose of the, using this money would be, and I did throw it in there for our fire panels, so that we could, use that up, for that, but there's various things we could use it for, and as we go down in more discussions, I'll talk about, another thing, option that we, or another expense that we might have to look at, coming up here pretty quick. So, and like I said, Ms. John Lynn's probably gonna touch on some more of this stuff when she does her reports and so forth, so if there's any questions, when she gets her, we can answer them for you. Maintenance, projects, of course, the fire alarm system is the biggest one. We did meet with Johnson Controls. I did get a text from Tim today telling me that it's gonna take 3 weeks before we can get a quote from them, because they might actually have to come out, visit, to, look at the condition of the existing ones, and then they'll get us something out. So when that happens, I might have to ask for a special meeting to get, to let you know what the cost is gonna be and get approved for it. Yeah, it's been a slow process. We're still continuing to do fire watch. At the high school, everybody signs off to check, make sure no smoke, no nothing every 30 minutes. And then we have a sheet where we sign off so that, we can stay in compliance, so they don't wanna come in and shut us down. So that's where we're at with that. To Jose, they are scheduled to come out this coming week to, finally get that turf over at the preschool playground, get that put in there and so forth. So, it is already paid for, so the installation and so forth, so they're, he didn't assure me, but told me they're gonna send a crew out, hopefully this coming week, so that we can get that taken care of and get it back, you know, the way we wanted it to be in the first place. And that was, some of the stuff that we bought when we had to use up the $100,000 before June for the preschool stuff, and so, we're gonna get those installed now. That's it for like the major, projects that we have going. Of course, Tim and I are looking into finding the company. I talked to, Billy Burns and Logan, and, the system that they have in the auxiliary gym, I guess has been there for quite a while. And, he doesn't know who the vendor was that actually did it. I reached out to, Paul Benoit from CES to see if they had some kind of you know, what company was, HVAC company that could do that for me, and I haven't had anybody call me back. So we're trying to find, a company that can come in and give us an estimate on how much it would cost us to put that sleeve around the Yellow Jacket gym so to throw cold air, so we can cool out the gym, because that gym gets nasty, it gets really, really hot. And so, that's another project that's coming, but I didn't necessarily list it, but, that's the other, are looking and trying to get done as soon as possible. I know that, the volleyball team's in there now, and I think for the most part, you go in and turn on those, fans right away early. Once you turn them on early in the morning, it stays pretty cool. But you gotta remember to turn them on when you first get there, because if not, by the afternoon, it's pretty nasty in there, so. But that is one of the priorities that we wanna get some air conditioning into Yellow Jacket Gym, so it's not so hot. Even for games, when we get all these people in there, it gets really, really, really hot in there. So, that's coming down. Transportation, I was talking to Paul, two Suburbans, and then, Paul and I started talking a little bit more, and he says, what do you think about, maybe getting, approval to get rid of two more of the Suburbans, and maybe using them as down payments for, a new Suburban four-wheel drive, or a new vehicle, not necessarily a Suburban. And that would cut us down to having 4 Suburbans, and that would include the white one that we have, the 2019. And then, it would, be a new one, and then 2 of the ones that are still there, we would keep them there. So, I did reach out to Gino to get me the process on doing an auction on them. So, he was out of the office till the 20th, which was yesterday, so I called him this morning, and he asked what I was gonna do, and I said, well, can you write me something up, for in case we decide to go ahead and auction them off, so that we know what to do, how to do the sealed bids or whatever it is, then we can get rid of them that way. And so I guess the question is, which way would we get more for our money if we auction them off and take the money that we get, it's not gonna go back into, would it be better to trade them in and see if we get more money that way, or sell them, see if we get more money that way? Either way, when we decide if we wanna get a new vehicle, we're gonna have to pay in full just like for the cafeteria van. So, you know, that's just a thought that, you know, when I sat down with Paul, we talked a little bit about it. And I don't get much for, the 2, I didn't bring the list with me, but the 2 that we had, I think they were over 100,000. The one I used yesterday to go to Des Moines, when I parked it last night, is already at 107,000. But that's the one we wanted to keep because it's the only 4-wheel drive we have. But if we were to look into possibly purchasing another, that would be 4-wheel drive, that would be probably one of the ones that would be ready to go. You know, that's a discussion Paul and I had while, you know, just chit-chatting, and I said, you know, that's something to look into, because if we can get a pretty decent deposit on another, we might help out. And on the Kelly Blue Book, on both of the Suburbans that they were under $5,000, both of them. I had to get that Gino so he could do, you know, his deal when he does the bidding process of the auction. He needed to know how much they're worth, and on the Kelly Blue Book, both of them are. And then, of course, the one that probably has issues with transmission, that's the man, because there's an added expense that you'd have to fix the transmission for it to do anything. So
you're looking to see if it'd be better to trade them in,
Yeah.
right, or auction them?
So yeah, so Paul is looking into, probably talking to Tillery or to Delhart to see what kind of, trade-in they would give us if we offer 4 of them or whatever. See, and then go from there, but if all else fails, we'll just put them up for auction and we'll get them out and see who buys them. So. Cafeteria, I know we had some issues with the cafeteria, with, some of the meal selections and possibly the menus and so forth. I do believe all those things have been dealt with. I sat down and talked to Maggie, and we talked about the selections of the meals for our kids, and I made her, I told her, we need to get the best possible meals we can for the kids. And she totally agrees, and getting feedback from students and from teachers and administrators, they feel like the meals are really getting to a point where they're really good, and if not already there. But I know that we had an issue with over a Caesar salad that didn't have nothing, but I think it was salad, and it was, we gotta add some, chicken Caesar salad, do something different with it, and so forth. So I'm hoping that things have ironed out there, but I am keeping an eye on it and making sure that our kids are getting the best meals that they possibly. So if you do see that don't go up, let us know. I'm not making excuses, but it could be a software issue too, because they go through the software with that Health Grow, and then they get them ready, and then they upload them through our site through Apogee. But for the most part, I've looked at them, and I think they're up to date. And of course, I don't think we're gonna have the same issues we had last year, where a lot of the stuff we ordered didn't come in and we had to substitute. I think we'll have some times where we have to substitute things, but I don't think it's gonna be as frequent as it was last year. And I added these last two at the bottom. Myself and Ms. John, and then we just got over COVID ourselves. I got it September 4th, and I think I gave it to her when I got here on Friday. But I have had, just in the last 2 days, I've had 2 staff members and 2 students that have tested positive for COVID. And I think there's a lot more that were exposed, but luckily for us, it was limited to a certain area. So it really didn't impact the schools as per se, but we're keeping a close eye on it. Michelle and Keith are all over it, and we're making sure that we're getting people, if we need to, if they're not feeling well, get them tested to make sure they're okay. But we're just, I think it's something that needs to be mentioned, that it is, I don't know, second, third, fourth time around, I don't know what it is. But the days that I was gone, and of course us men are a bunch of babies when we're sick, but I was pretty miserable for 2 days. And it's just, it wasn't a pleasant thing. But now I'm okay. The only thing now is that I get really tired in the afternoons. It's like, it's crazy. I go home and take a nap till about 7, get up for an hour, and then go back to bed and sleep real good. But it's rough. But Justin added to it. He said it takes about a month or 2 to get your stuff back, so hopefully that'll work out. And then I also included here, I sent emails to the board about the regional meeting that's gonna be in West Las Vegas on October 17th. I have the paperwork here. If you're wanting to go, let me know, because I have to register us, and then we have to pay, I think we have to send an invoice for the meal. I have already heard from you.
Did they say how many hours we get for that? 3?
Let me see.
Or 2, like the...
It's gonna be the same as what we got last.
For that. I'd rather go ahead and start leaving over more.
So, it does not say how many hours you get, but I can call Joe tomorrow and ask him. I think it's 2.
Probably 2.
Yeah. So it's gonna be like the one we attended in Wagamama. So if before we leave tonight, I have this here, you can put your name on it if you wanna go, and then I'll go in and I'll type it in, and I'll get everything done, and we'll be.
Would there ever be a chance of getting one?
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to host the next one.
What, the next one, I thought we had.
Yeah, we voted to go,
Volunteer to...
Vegas has been in a
host?
Yeah, so we'll hold it next year.
We'll host the spring one.
Bring one here.
The thing is, if we commit to going to these, doesn't it cost money? Don't we have to pay them?
Yeah, we have to pay them, 15, from what I see here, they're asking us to let us know who's going because there's a $15 charge for, a person, and I think that's for the meals. And as far as I've seen, there, and then I think there's a registration fee there too that we have to pay.
I'm pretty sure there's
It's
usually
like
is a
you
registration.
register for it.
So there's what they tell us.
Well, this is just the evening thing, boom, it's over. That's what I'm saying, get it over.
That's the only cost they say there, and that's for the meal.
2 hours of leadership development.
So, if you wanna, here's the agenda, if you wanna look at it, and if you wanna.
I was just gonna say, if we commit to it, let's make sure we do attend, so we don't lose out.
And I think it's on, is it on a Sunday night or Saturday night?
Monday.
It's a Monday night?
I think
Monday.
October 17th
Yeah,
is
it's
a
a
Monday.
It was because the last one we did, we were off that Monday, and then we had to go that afternoon, remember? Because there was no school that Monday, we went to Wagama, I remember that. So yeah, if you guys, for tomorrow, and we get you guys going.
If they get, or I can take my health insurance, okay?
Well, alright, so you get them in Las Vegas that day? Okay, next is,
What time is it? It's in the evening?
it's in the evening,
Like 30 to 8:30.
so we'd have to leave here 3 hours ahead, maybe. We'll let her drive, so there's faster than I do.
I'm not,
You're not going?
no.
Well, that's no fun.
Which doesn't very fast.
Let him drive your brand new pickup through the fields chasing, I don't know, tell me you don't drive fast.
No, I think I could make it to Las Vegas.
That's
He ain't
just-
never touching my truck again.
That's just hearsay.
Oh, I got proof.
Vegas, never. 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I had
I'll
to,
say 2 hours.
I had to, Claudia, for you, it's not 2 hours and 10 minutes. Not for you, don't tell me that. Yours is at least 2 hours and a half.
Regular one.
Okay, so that's it for my report. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Oh, no, there's one more thing that we did go, Claudia and I attended the REC meeting on, what was it, Tuesday? Claudia?
Yes.
Yes, Tuesday. And Stephen Aguirre reminded us to, our board members know that we do need to approve the Open Meetings Act. We need to make a motion to approve it. He said it's something that needs to be done on a yearly basis. So that's something that we can do for the next meeting. Yeah. I don't know, that's what he told us, so I put it on here. I can ask
So
Gino.
we need to put it on the agenda and,
We're bound by the open meetings.
Yeah, but-
Act, whether we approve it or not.
Yeah, but they approved it at this meeting, and it said that it was required to approve it on a yearly basis every year.
Oh, we'll do it. Who cares?
Okay, so,
It don't matter. You just-
so I can actually get the same copy that they use there, and I'll include it in for the next one. So if there's no questions for me, we'll go ahead and go to, Ms. Hyman.
Actually, I do have a question.
Yes.
I just watched the news, I know it's always a bad deal, but, and they were talking about, ED was saying that they're gonna try to remove red tape from the school districts. And I think that was partly the COVID paperwork and some of the school paperwork for finances, anything, you heard anything?
Well, that's part of the 25% of less reporting things that we have to do. And the last meeting that we had, which was last Tuesday with superintendent, actually it was last Thursday, and it was with the PED. Some of the superintendents brought that up, and they told Secretary Steinhaus that we haven't seen any relief on our end on things that we're not supposed to report. He did throw back at us that the educational plan has been cut from like 100, and they cut it down a lot. But we haven't, as per se, actually seen a cutback on a lot of things. One of the things I can tell you that we cut back on, and we don't have to do both for stars or anything, is the extended school year. There's just so much paperwork that went into that, and because we're not doing it this year, we don't have to worry about all that. So that was self-imposed. It wasn't something that the state did for us, because everybody else that's doing the extended student learning year, they are still having to do all that and the reporting and so forth. The other thing is, a lot of these districts have the community schools grant, and we're not a community school, so there's a lot of red tape there too that we have to do. So there's a lot of things that we don't do in Clayton that other schools are doing there, and they're having to report it to STARS, they're having to, and do yearly stuff. But when it comes to doing any reports like for ESSER, we still have to, here pretty quick, we're gonna have to, share with them how we're spending the money and everything else, and so I think that's what they were referring to, that the governor had a mandate or an executive order saying that that the Fed was supposed to back on 25%, but they're being picky on what it is that they're gonna back us on, and we're not seeing much of a difference.
I thought that'd be the case, but I was curious. Thank you.
Can I answer
Sure.
that? So I have seen with pre-K teachers, there used to be a lot of requirements, a lot of classes that they had to take every year in addition to being pre-K certified, early childhood certified, and they have cut back on the requirements on that. It used to be, if there was an EA, they had to have an associate's degree, they had to, take these, like, they basically were in college. They were taking, almost 20 college hours a year as an EA, and they had to retake and recertify a lot of stuff, and they cut that part out. So they are making some changes in some areas, and that's the only one that I've noticed.
They haven't given up any of the safety concerns, because I heard rumors that they're saying no background checks, no this,
Oh,
and
no.
this, and it's.
Oh, no,
Anybody
those,
that wants to come, that's still in place.
no, that's still in place, we have to go through all that. As a matter of fact, there's over House Bill 128, I think it is, there's an added requirement that once we're gonna hire someone, we're supposed to send a questionnaire to the previous, school district asking for more information, and it's revolving around, child abuse or sexual abuse or anything like that. And if, the other district refuses to provide that, they report it. So I know that that's, something that we, last year started doing once it came out, and so, we of course wanna hire people that we can trust with our kids and so forth, and so we don't have those issues. So, yeah, but,
And we voted a similar policy not too long ago into the draft that we just.
Thank you.
Great, any other questions for Mr. Rizos?
before, if I could, the other thing we learned, and this is on Tuesday, with the LEAP program, which is the alternative, teacher licensure program, they're trying to, move it to Raton, right, Audie? And so they're trying to recruit other schools from our RAC, because it's us, Cimarron, and who was the other one, Des Moines?
Yes.
That are already participating with it, and what is happening right now is like our teachers had to go to Albuquerque to get their training with in-person stuff. If we can get this going through the REC here in Raton, our staff don't have to go to Albuquerque, they can go to Raton, so much easier to get it done there and so forth. And the funny part is that a lot of their mentors, their teachers, what are they called?
Their coaches.
The coaches are actually from this area, huh?
Yes.
And so, I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't just meet with and do that training here, but they were required to go all the way to Albuquerque this last time. I'm already sick of Albuquerque myself, I'm there almost every day. Embassy Suites, I don't like it anymore, but, it is what it is, especially after I got COVID. But, hopefully we'll get all that done so that they just have to go to Raton and not have to go all the way to Albuquerque. So, that's it for me. Ms. Jaime?
Madam President, school board members, the current enrollment for Alvis is at 155. That is for pre-K through 4th grade.
155.
155. We also currently have 8 full-time in our daycare, and we have 2 that come in, on Wednesday afternoons after pre-K. So we can have up to 10. So it's been a busy start to the school year, but I feel like we're all starting to finally settle in. I want to give a big shout out to all the staff at Alvis. Everybody's been working together as we figure out how to use the new Power School. And we are all working together to figure that out, as well as our new English curriculum that we got. So everybody's kind of been rallying around each other. And then also just supporting our new teachers and helping them all settle in. It's been really great. You know, somebody in a meeting will say, I don't know how to do this, and 3 people will go, oh, I figured that out. We're gonna just come by my room. And so it's been really good to see everybody pulling together and just getting. Kindergarten through 4th grade took their first iReady diagnostic test at the beginning of the year. So, it was the 3rd week of school. I'm gonna lead with that. It was the 3rd week of school. As a district in reading, 17% are at or above grade level. 52% are showing 1 grade level below, and 31% are grade levels below. In math, level or above, 55% were 1 grade level below, and 39% were showing 2 or more grade levels or below. I do have to say, those that are on that 1 grade level below, a lot of them were very close to being on grade level. So one of the things that Miss Claudia kind of told us about, and then we're going to start doing, is we're going to put up a goal chart for the whole building of Albus in our cafeteria, and that way we can track the building as a whole every time we do a diagnostic testing. And what Claudia had said that they had done is we'll put up a red, and we'll put up a yellow, and we'll put up a green. And then we'll take a sticky note, no names, no numbers, but each sticky note will represent a student. And we'll put them where they are on the thing. So I'll have 150 some, sticky notes stuck up on the wall, one for reading, one for math. And then after the diagnostic test, then each student will move so that students can see, oh, look, we now have, 20 kids that are above grade level, and we've moved this. So I'm really excited to get that visual up. Ms. Masanji is going to help me with that, and we're going to try to get that up this next week. So we're going to have that up for the kids, and like I said, it's not going to have names, numbers, anything like that, but the kids are going to understand, one of those stickers up there represents me. Let's see if we can get everybody over to the green by the end of the year. So we have teeth sealant and teeth checks coming. Grades 2 and 3, they come up with Nurse Shelley, and they're going to be doing that tomorrow and Friday for all 2nd and 3rd grade students that signed up for that. Next week, our 3rd graders are going to be participating in Farm Safety Day, so that's a great opportunity for our 3rd graders. They love going to that. We still have a lot of the year ahead of us, but we're all really looking forward to the challenge. Just kind of get this year going on. Do you have any questions for me?
You don't look as tired as you did.
I know, that first week was pretty rough. I feel a lot better.
Okay, Madam President and School Board, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Our current numbers are 51 students in Kaiser and 59 at the junior highs, for a total of 110. We also took our first iReady assessments. Our numbers are somewhat similar to Albus because, again, it was early. I'll be giving you 4 grades, of course, reports. So in 5th grade reading, we had 17% on grade level or above, and 55% 2 grade levels or below. In 6th grade, we had 20% on grade level or above, and 53% 2 grade levels or below. So when you take that yellow, that is the 1 grade level or above, 1 grade level below or above, we're at 45 and 47. So we're almost a 50-50 give and take on that in reading. When you go to your math results for our 5th grade, and this was an interesting number to me, our 5th grade had 12% on grade level or above. But if you take the 1 grade level below and above, there are 83% of them were 1 grade level or above. 83% out of 17% were 2 grades below. That was really, really interesting and really good. In 6th grade math, we were at 18% on grade level or above, and 40% 2 grade below. When you go to your junior high, sometimes I wonder if our junior high kids, what they're thinking sometimes. But these scores are still okay for the most part. Like Interesting, our seventh grade reading, 2% on grade level or above. And eighth grade, we had 20% on grade level or above. And then in seventh grade, 2 grades or below was at 49%, and eighth grade was at 56%. Then when you get to the math, we had 19% on grade level or above for the seventh grade, and 16% on grade level or above for eighth grade. And then we were at 52%, 2 grades below or below for seventh. And then for eighth, kind of surprised me, 68% or below. So again, it's a start. What Mrs. Hyman was discussing with you, and we discussed in our administrative meeting, we're going to start having data walls in our building, and we're also going to use the sticky notes to show the progress that our students are making. We will represent our students in the 3 colors, the green, the yellow, and the red, and then they will see their progress throughout the year as we take the assessments. We're also going to start offering incentives, and I think you all are too, incentives. And we're not talking about watching a movie in the cafeteria. We're talking about maybe going to Gaddy's Pizza, or we're talking about maybe going to Wonderland or something. You know, really building some incentives for them, and show them that we do care about them, we do want the best for them, and we do want them to be successful. So those are some things that we're looking at Kaiser Junior High. Another thing I wanted to mention is we are doing a book study this year called Focus, which Mrs. Montoya brought with her. It's written by a gentleman named Mike Schmoker. He actually was in our meeting last Wednesday via satellite, via Zoom or whatever you want to call it, and he led the lesson. Our teachers are applying this information along with the Fundamental 5 that we studied last year. And I think we're really seeing some great results. Basically what Mike Schmoker talks about, and you guys can jump in, is just keeping it simple. Get rid of all the extra stuff. There's no way that you can get through all the criteria and all the stuff that you're supposed to. Focus on what is the most important, what these things are showing you, and let's run with those things. And I have daily conversations with some of our teachers. Adam Estes and I talk every day about this stuff, and he was even talking about chapter 3 today. He's blowing it going. I really like the book study. I think our teachers have liked it. We're meeting twice a month to do that on our Wednesdays, and I think it's really going well. And then the last thing, of course, junior high football and volleyball are off and running. Junior high football's only played against Springfield, but they look good doing it. And so our junior high volleyball is also having success. Our 8th grade girls are really pretty good. They're running rotations and plays, and they're going to be a good group. Our 7th grade's still trying to understand. They're doing good, so they're getting better. They really are improving. They played last night, and you could tell there was a lot of improvement with those girls. So, any questions for me? Thank you.
Madam President and the board, our enrollment at the high school is 131. So at the high school, yesterday we had a college fair in the parking lot at Huff Stadium, and we had 16 colleges and 5 branches of the military. So we had Amarillo College, UNM, NMSU, Eastern, Highlands, Clovis Community College, Mesa Lands, Wyoming Tech, South Plains, Western Tech, WT, CSU Pueblo, New Mexico Military, UNM Taos, and Western New Mexico. So that was a great turnout. And then we had the Navy, the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, and the Reserves. So, and they do it kind of like a trunk or treat type thing in the parking lot. They just set up right there out of their trunk and give the kids. So then this morning when you got here, there's all kinds of college stuff all over their lockers and everything for those seniors. Tuesday, September 27th, the senior students will actually be going to WT for a visit, some seniors. And then Tuesday, October 4th, the junior students will be taking the ASVAB in the cafeteria. Student council, my student council president isn't going to be able to be with us, but we will have a rotation of our vice president, our secretary, and our treasurer, and they'll be here next week. They did go with me to the city council meeting, but they had practice. So so student council, the week of October 3rd through the 7th is homecoming week. There will be a pep rally at Huff Stadium at 6 p.m. on Thursday, October 6th, and then the bonfire will be afterward behind, I guess it's the sheriff's station now, but the old National Guard Army. Right. And the parade will be at 2 o'clock, the regular route. We filled out all of our paperwork with the Department of Transportation and everything, then we had to go to the city council meeting for them to approve it also. Our homecoming, Aubrey Wilson, Nick Gonzalez and Morgan, Triton Poling and Braylon Riley, and Caleb, Whitney, and Riley Stewart. And like Mrs. Hyman was talking, we do have several student council members that will be helping with farms. In athletics, this is just for the next 2 weeks, okay? The volleyball team will play tomorrow in Raton, JV and varsity. The volleyball team will have a home game on Friday, JV starting at 3 and varsity after. The Rotary Club will be having hamburgers at the CHS cafeteria before the football game on Friday, and the football team will play Fort Sumner at 7 o'clock on Friday here. The athletic department will be having a golf tournament to Jackson and Jill on Saturday. I know a couple of you guys will be playing in that. We will have volleyball at Cimarron on September 29th, junior high JV varsity starting at 3. Football Friday, September 30th in Logan at 7. And Saturday, October 1st, volleyball here against Mosquero at 3:30. Homecoming October 7th at 6 o'clock against Melrose. They won state last year. And Saturday, October 8th, volleyball, JV and varsity here against Tucumcari starting at 2. So that's just the next 2 weeks. So, right now, Fort Sumner is number 2. They just got, Lordsburg just kind of beat them out of that top spot. So we'll see what, we'll kind of see what we've got.
They'll be like number 4 after Friday.
Hopefully they'll be number 4 after Friday.
What are we ranked?
We're ranked number 5.
We were 4 last week, now we're 5.
And then in curriculum, like Mr. Funk was talking about, we've been taking part in this book right here, and it was just, like he's saying, the approach is less is more, really working on standards that are gonna give you the best results you can for student achievement, regardless of whether they're going to college, whether they're going into the workforce, or whether they're going into some sort of career tech. If we stick to what is simple and prioritize and clarify, kids will improve. And that's what we're gonna be working on. So Smoker himself will be working with our teachers on building pacing guides for the year. He told us that just in ELA, or just in reading and writing, if you were to really do every standard like it should be done, it would take 2.5 years for one grade level. So that's why we have to really, really prioritize what's important. So with that, our PDP goals for the high school will be incorporating 2 writing assignments in all subject areas every 3 weeks. We will be deciding on a rubric for next week during our staff meeting. And we will keep samples throughout the year on every student to show growth. So we're really going to add reading across the subject. So even if you teach Mr. Doherty, even in shop class, there will be writing. So just to get those kids so used to writing that it becomes something natural that they do.
So will they be writing in every class that all?
No.
Just joking, I know you just bring up something.
Right. Right now we've got writing prompts that we're using for the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and the end of the year as our kind of like our short cycle benchmarks. So we want that to be just something that feels normal, feels something they feel like they can do, because after these last couple of years with COVID, it's not a natural process anymore for them. It's hard, and want to cut and paste off the internet. And so we want them to really learn how to analyze that text themselves, how to interpret data themselves and that kind of stuff. So that's curriculum. Any questions for me?
Not really a question, but again, I was watching the news and I saw a deal on there that said that New Mexico schools overall was around K through 12 was like in the high 60% of below grade. So I want to congratulate y'all. It sounds like you're way above what the overall situation of the state is. So y'all done a really good job and I know you're going to keep it up. So just keep your heads high. You're doing great. It's awesome to see that in our schools.
They do, they work very hard. I commend them because with this smoker thing, it was exciting just to, just sit there and listen to him interact with the staff and just the magnitude of having the guy actually wrote the book, take time out of his busy schedule to meet with our teachers was just really good. And I think that there's buy-in into what's going on. I think there might have been a little resistance at the beginning, but I think, him taking the time just to be there with them, answering the questions. Too bad it couldn't be live, but at least he took the time to be there. I think kind of like, hammered it home, and there's a lot more buy-in, and I think at the end of it all, I think it's going to be very beneficial to the students of commend Claudia for getting everything organized and my other two administrators for supporting everything that, we want to do to hopefully improve, on our kids and the learning outcomes that's going on. I think there's, a lot more positive things coming our way. So thank you guys. I appreciate you guys so much.
And the turnout at that football game, that basketball game, and I'm talking about the kids, like I've never seen that many kids in one group enjoying each other and cheering on and, interacting with the cheerleaders and stuff like that. It was, that felt so good to see that.
Well, this week's theme is put the foxes to sleep and wear your pajamas.
So you gotta wear your pajamas, but
Yeah.
But yes, the student section and the band, I should have mentioned the band.
Yes.
You guys, they are rocking and rolling, and so the band director came in today and he said they want to march in the parade. And I told him, I can't believe, he's like, no, this is them telling me we're marching in the parade.
Good.
And I was like,
That's
oh my
great.
gosh, that's crazy. But we went and, Mr. Sorry.
we gotta catch this one. Wait,
I'm
hold on,
excited.
we gotta get this one
So-
on audio here.
So one of my favorite songs, it's even my ringtone, is 24, I don't even know.
You want me to call you?
Yeah, call me. And, so it's a Chicago song, 25 or 64.
You know which was this?
And, so Mr. Maestas and I, the other day, were like, hey, let's go out and listen to the band. They were playing it. And we were blown away. There's 15 of them, you guys, and we were blown away. So he said last night at community band, the community band members were there too, and then they were really rocking. So that's one of the songs that you'll be able to hear on Friday night.
So she walks in and she's like, and he looks at all kinds of, that's just the second time we played.
I was blown away.
He's awesome, man. He's cool. Kids love him.
Hey, I have a funny story about, Mike Schmoker. Adam Maestas had something come up last Wednesday. He walked in late. So Mike Schmoker's talking to us this whole Zoom, and he's talking about doing all this book with us and setting up, alignments and lessons. And the whole time Adam's just listening to some guy talk to us. He had no idea what was going to do. So finally he asked someone, he goes, who's this guy talking to us? And they're like, that's Mike Schmoker. He had no idea that Mike Schmoker was talking.
Oh, he's off. Oh.
I didn't never pay attention.
He's a
It
trip.
was funny, man. He'd come in late, he didn't know the whole time Mike Schmoker was talking to us.
That's my brother.
All right, any questions for any of our administrators? Moving on to board communications, report on communications with county and city officials. Do you want to say that? Do you want to say anything? Okay. So it was just John and I and Cheryl Garcia, because the city they didn't make it to the meeting, but we still had a really nice meeting with Cheryl, and she was very informative. We were talking about summer recreation, that's what this meeting was for. Told us that our, county commissioners set aside $40,000.
$40,000.
$40,000.
20 this, after the, get 20 after the fiscal.
Yes. So $40,000 for stuff like that. And then we have like the DWI program and, but they're very active too, I know in the school. They're really good about supplying whatever, money for, I know sometimes even senior trips. They'll do that, but, so there was money there, she had some great ideas. We kind of volunteered the city for some stuff since they didn't show up. So,
And we'll see.
yeah, so we're planning to meet again on October 5th, and if you can make it, and Mr. and Mrs., we'd really like you to attend because you are experienced with summer recreation. And if we can get summer recreation taken care of and the money part of it figured out, I think then bring in other activities like Christmas break and, I don't know, after games or something like that. But we also wanted the new economic development person to come in if she had time. So we're hoping to meet October 5th. If you guys can tell us what time works best for you. But if you just want to let me know, and then I can get back with Cheryl because she said she could actually meet during the day, and then I'll talk to Stephanie at the city to make sure they can come. And I said, the city does not come to this meeting. I'm going to theirs. But they're saying I'm showing them. But, yep. But they didn't, they had auditors show up, so they couldn't be there. So anyways, just talking about how to get it started, paying somebody to head up summer recreation. So anyways, that's what we talked about. But Cheryl was very helpful and gave us a lot of information. She's been there, done it too, but we wanted to see, not to put anything else on your plate, we just want your input. Yeah. So, any questions? Okay. All right. Update on replacing fire panels across the district.
I think I gave that update to you guys a little while ago. I had put this on there because I was hoping that, the guy from, Johnson Controls would have given us a quote by now. We've been bugging him, and, today he finally texted Jim and told him that he needed probably another 2 weeks to get, an estimate because they're probably gonna have to come back out here again and take another look at it and so forth, so. But that's where we're at their mercy, but we do need to get these things done ASAP, so, we're trying to push them as much as we can. I have Tim calling them every day, and so, but, finally we got a response, and so we'll be, I'll provide that to you guys. Like I said, we may have to do a special board meeting or something, so that we can get those going as soon as we have a quote. If it's something, that's reasonable, that's not gonna break the bank, I think we need to move forward with it. And, like I explained the last time, Johnson Controls already does a lot with the hospital and other entities here in town, so it'd be convenient for them to, also get us in there. So, so we're waiting to see what they tell us, and I'll report that to you guys when we get there.
Okay. Questions about that? Discuss the possibility of creating a grading criteria policy for CMS.
So, Madam President, members of the board, with us moving over to Power School, I had a discussion with some teachers, and they were wondering how they would weigh their grades or how they were gonna do it and so forth. And so basically, I, to tell you the truth, did not know that Cleveland Schools does not have some kind of a grading criteria policy in place. In Pedestrian and Mora and all the other schools I've had, we've had some kind of a grading criteria where the district will set the weights for how kids will receive their grades. And within those weights, the teachers then, categorize the assignments that they do. And like, I have an example of the one here and I think it's the one that you have on yours there. It's pretty simple, but this was the one that was in Peñasco, and what they had in place is they had that 50% of the grade was, based on daily work, homework, reports, presentations, whatever's considered, like daily work that you do, that you can, do a quick assessment on them there in the classroom or whatever. And then 30% of it was work, and of course, it's not all schools are the same, so they can be different, but it'd be like your quizzes, weekly tests, bi-weekly, and so forth. And here it says a minimum of 2 per quarter, but I mean, like I said, every district's different. And they had 20% of the 9 weeks exams that would be, part thrown into the equation. Now, it doesn't have to be this way, but my thinking behind it is that I want to eliminate the possibilities of a teacher somewhere down the line saying, semester exams are 90% of the grade, or whatever it may be. I think if the administrators can meet with their staff and they come out with what they think is a thing, there's just a lot of kids out there that wasn't. And if you're putting 60% of the grades already just on taking the test, that kid probably doesn't have a chance to pass. Assessments are great, but we want to see what the kids are doing. We want to see what they're learning from the classrooms and how they apply it and so forth. And so I threw this out to the administrators, and they did have discussions with their staffs, and of course there's a lot of questions that were asked and so forth. I'm not sure. I think it was received okay. And so I think that and in the Peñasco, it was attached to the reports, and it had it attached to their policy there. And so I talked to Mr. Leal, and I reached out to JFK, but he never reached back to me on how we can just something like just something that we would amend the policy and attach something to it like that for a grading criteria. And so, like I said, it was something that they've already talked to their staff members, and of course, we would never do anything and force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. But when it comes to something like this, I'm thinking of, what's in the best interest for our students and giving them a fair shake. They have, the ability to pass the class, not just based on a test or whatever it may be. It's kind of like what we talk about standards-based assessments right now. That shouldn't be the only thing that determines if the kid is where they need to be or not. Because a lot of these kids do a lot better with hands-on stuff, and a standard-based test doesn't do that for you. I mean, and if you're a terrible test taker like I am, you're probably not gonna do well with it. But this is just something for discussion. I the administrators again, see where we're at, what the numbers would be, and then hopefully before the next board meeting we can have a proposal for you guys to see if there's something we can do. And I'll have some information from JFK to see what we need to do, if we need to do a different an addendum to the policy or whatever it is.
So how do you go about that at the different school sites? Do you have a committee, or do you have a?
So at my building, we had a staff meeting today, and we talked about, I had brought it up to them previously, and then we sat down and we talked about, okay, what would this look like? Because we can't do it, and there was a lot of discussion, what does a 4th grade classroom look like as to a, 1st grade classroom? Because kindergarten is standards-based grading, so their grades comes by standards. And so we kind of all went back and forth and kind of came up with a system that everybody felt really good with, and stuff, but there was a lot of discussion with just everybody kind of talking. So what we ended up kind of coming up with is 50% comes from on grade level daily work. So what they are doing every day, might be some homework, might be some a presentation, might be something like that. 30% would come from like those unit tests, those spelling tests, different things like that. And then 20% for us is participation. We don't do a 9 weeks test, we don't do a semester, but participation in the lower elementary classes is very important. And a lot of what they do, especially pre-teaching and in the learning stage, is going to be participation. So 20% of their grade comes from them participating in class and doing. And everybody really felt good about that. And so, all of my teachers went ahead and implemented that into all of their grades, how they're going to do for all of their different, subjects. So we combined, reading, language, and spelling into ELAR, math, science, social studies, science and social studies, and something else I can't remember off the top of my head, but they'll all implement this 50-30-20.
It sounds like there's already a criteria in your school. Is there already a criteria in the other schools?
So that was the one that we came up with after discussing, so I know that they've had discussions, yeah.
Yes,
It's not a uniform criteria, it's
well, just through this,
grade
just
level.
by this, like the campus.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we've been talking about at the high school is similar to what Mrs. Hyman was talking about, where 50% of their grade is daily work or quizzes or tests or anything that is on grade level that they have done independently. And then 50% of their grade could be participation projects, something that they've done with cooperative learning, something that they've done in group work, because they do group work also. But the test wouldn't weigh more than a daily grade that's on grade level. It's just part of the grade. That way they have a lot more grades. So the test grade's not gonna count as a percentage. It's just part of that daily work that's on grade level that's been done independently. So they'd have a lot of grades. And then 20%, but right now the policy reads that 20% of their grade is the semester exam.
That's what it says here.
Yeah.
Well, I was just,
Is this criteria example ours?
No.
No,
No.
that was a sample I pulled out of the.
Well, let me ask this question in a different way.
Right.
So, from an administrative level, there's no set criteria from the administrative level. So it's been up to the specific teacher to set their criteria.
Yes.
And what you're wanting to do is set up a basic from the administrative level for all teachers to follow, right?
Yes. So you don't end up with that one teacher that says daily
Okay.
works 10%, 90%. Yeah.
Now then, with that in mind, it appears to me that you're gonna have to have a separate criteria on campus. You know, for the elementary,
Entry will be similar to what Mrs. Hyman's doing at Alice, and our junior high will be similar to what the high school is. So we'll go two different ways.
yeah, you'd have to have a totally different criteria for the elementary as
Yes.
opposed to second.
Yes.
I would just add that, if 30% is going to be weekly or bi-weekly tests or quizzes, 2 per quarter.
Well, that's, like I said, that's what they had in there. We
Okay.
can,
So I was gonna say,
no, we can do it for ourselves.
you could
With
say
my
with no less than so
Yeah.
many, because,
Yeah,
So this has been left up to the teacher.
Yes,
That's
and
the
that's,
correct part,
that's
right?
Right, so we'll streamline so that we
Now
don't
what-
have what
let me
he's
ask
talking
this
about, we
question.
don't want that.
So you have any teachers in the school that are abusing this criteria method?
No,
Okay,
no,
so,
but we
so-
have
so-
had in the past.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's
okay,
It's been an
So-
issue in the past.
so if you get this thing set, and your discussion with your staff are they pretty much in line with this
Yes,
right now?
yes, they're very on board, and they kind of decided as a group, hey, I think would be equitable for.
And their implementation of the deal would be very,
Yes,
yes.
so it'd be like a group effort on each campus to come up with a
Yes.
criteria.
Yes. That's the advantage of having Fridays to work together. I mean Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Yes.
So So then basically what you guys would come up with from each campus would be coming back to the school board to set a policy on a,
The waiting,
Yeah.
Yes.
And like Mr. Maestas was saying, you could have kids, so I know whenever one of my own children was in high school, he knew that daily work didn't count for anything, but that he would do well on the test, so he didn't do anything. But he did well on the test and was able to pass the class. That was him, but he was an exception. What about the kids that don't do well on the test, but their daily work was good? You know what I mean? So then they were deemed because it didn't matter what their daily work looked like. So we just wanted to get away from that. We wanted to get where it's a truly shows what they're, a representation of what they're doing in the classroom.
Any other questions? Okay. Discuss the need for the purchase of an additional activity bus.
so, Madam President, members of the board, I have some very interesting discussions with Paul Durbin. Okay, and they're very exciting, okay, they're, pull out popcorn and we just enjoy. But we were sitting there talking and he actually, Paul always has some really good advice. I mean, he's very serious about everything he does, especially about transportation. And so he, I went into his office one day and he had, some quotes ready for me. He says, I think you need to consider getting an extra activity bus, that can also be used to do, the routes. He says, because, bus 41 is about to be, this is the last year we can use it. And, we're gonna be short a bus, he says, and right now is the perfect year. Bus 41, we've had to loan it out to Miss Shirley because bus 44 is at down. And so they've been using ours. So this last Friday, and I will touch on something, one of my staff members in a bit, but this last Friday, we had to get really creative on how we got the football team to Manal and how we got the volleyball team to Logan. And so we sent the football team naturally on the diesel, because there's a lot more of them. And then we had to, get a driver to take one of our, bus 26 lunchbox, buses that hold, the smaller buses. And then Mrs. Montoya had to drive some of the athletes down in the Suburban to get them there. Because one of our buses is artillery, they're putting in the cameras and so forth. They haven't finished it. What was the word that Paul said this morning? Yeah, he said it with a straight face, he was joking though. So they keep telling it's almost done, but it's never done. And so that bus is there, so we can't use it. The batteries were completely shot. We're waiting to get new batteries put in there, so we couldn't use that one. So the only other one we had was the one that the boys took there, and then we, like I said, 41 was out of the question, and so we had to figure out how to get them there. But because 41 is gonna be out of the picture next year, his suggestion is that we get another, activity bus that we could also use to do a route bus if we needed it. And it would be, you've got two quotes there, and there's a lot of information in there, but really, one of them is for $238,599. These all come with air conditioning. Now, there's a drawing of the bus of what it looks like on this one, towards the back of it, this quote. And it's one of those flat buses, the front end that's flat. And so, don't know, this is the ones that have the motor in the back. So that's the one that's for $238, but it's a lot cheaper for $127, $312, and it's one of the regular buses that has the motor in the front. And maybe, I don't know if it's pretty or it's ugly, I don't know what it is, but it gives us the same exact thing as this does, it's just it's a different design. We get it, they all have to come with air conditioning now, and so, I'd like to just have the discussion with you guys to let you know that I'm gonna work with, Ms. Johnny Lynn to see what the budget looks like, to see if we can afford to get this additional bus so we can have it for next year, so that we have it as a backup for in case we have the issues that we're having right now.
But this one that's 7312 does not have the compartment for.
Okay, so here's the issue,
items,
yeah, okay.
football stuff.
So this one has the compartments on the bottom, this one does not. So talking to Paul, we would have to be, of course, like you said, it's a backup. So we would always use our other three that we have, but if for some reason we come up with the same issues that we're having right now, and we have have to use this, well, naturally, we would probably have to send, team on this one because they need all the compartments on the bottom to take their stuff and so forth. So it'd be something that, we'd have to be real creative about how we use it and so forth. But like I said, it's just a backup. The whole intent is for, activities is to use the activity buses that we have, A1, 2, and 3. And then this one would be something that we would also use for in case we needed, exchange it for bus 25 or 44 again.
Well, this quote on this 238,000 is a substantially stronger bus, substantially stronger.
What is the main difference besides that compartment?
The engine's bigger,
It's just a bigger bus.
yeah.
Does this come with like free oil change?
No, I mean, well, yeah, you're right, there's advantages to it too, but it's also it's probably also gonna waste more diesel too. But,
I would, bus, if this is just a backup bus, I wouldn't want the top of the line. Our main bus, yes, I agree, we would want a better bus, but a backup bus, I don't.
this is, and like Paul mentioned, this is, as an emergency for when something goes down, we always have it here,
Why would we use a
Which you're in
new
that
bus?
situation now.
which we were Friday.
But why would we use a new bus? Well, I was gonna say, eventually, would it
Well,
move to your?
Well, no, because understand that this bus is gonna be, used, and I say for a backup, because A1, 2, and 3 has all the compartments, just like this other one that we have there. And those would be the priority to use, because we, yeah, and even if we had to use this one, we can put it in the rotation
So
and
is
use
it
it.
yellow?
No, it's gonna be yellow, it's gonna be a regular
So-
school bus.
Yeah, the main bus, how much longer do we have on them?
Which ones?
The main ones we use?
The A, 1, 2, and 3, I'm not sure, I'll get that to you.
That would be in deciding which way we
I'll
want to
get that to
go.
you.
Because one of them is.
Because they, I think, if I correct, I'm not sure how long you've had them, but I'm thinking that the life on the activity buses are, I think at 20 years.
Can't never, Dr. Isaacs was here for that.
Didn't we have several breakdowns last year? We had a lot of breakdowns.
Well, there was
We're sitting in Texas.
quite a bit of a breaking down, I'll tell you, and this is my theory, that's just my theory. What I do think that we didn't use them through the COVID, and then when we started using them again, there's a lot of things that gave way, and we're still, I think that's part of the stuff that we're still cleaning up. Nothing wrong with it, it's just that we wanna get, that we have those cameras in the activity buses, so, if we ever need them, any incidents or anything happens in it. And so then once we're done with that one, we're gonna switch another one out, one's already got everything we need, then we'll switch the other one out, take it to Tillery, bring this other one, and we have those two, and hopefully bus fixed here pretty quick, and we'll have bus 41 also. And we have those there as a backup, and then our back up was the little 26, where we had to send the volleyball team in that, and then some in the Suburban with Mrs. Montreal, just to get them in the game.
Well, it was just sad that we had so many breakdowns.
I agree.
Last year, and we don't want to put our kids through that, that's not fair. They're, I mean, maybe stressed already, their competition, and then we're gonna get them.
So, yeah, try being in my shoes, driving to Albuquerque, and I'm praying to God the whole way that the bus isn't on the side of the road, because I wouldn't know what to do. My only thought was I'm gonna call Marvin or AD Trip there in Las Vegas to see if they can pick us up and take us and pay their stuff. So, I had a backup plan, but I was praying to God the whole way that the bus wouldn't be on the side of the road. It wasn't, so, but, yeah, and so, like I said, this is something a discussion that Paul and I had, and I wanted to discuss it with you guys, and then I'll,
Find out already on those three.
Okay, I'll get that to you tomorrow.
And did you ever reach out to, Castillo about that HPP?
Yes, I did, and he sent me all kinds of information, but he never kind of answered my question.
Never gave you an amount?
He never did, well, we can find the amount when her and I were looking at it. I know that George had, found it, and it was like right around $74,000. That's the one that he says, you don't ever need to touch it, it's not gonna go anywhere. You can just have it as a backup. And so, she'll find it.
Well, but it renews in 2028.
Right, and so he sent me all the information on what needs to be done and whatever, so I have all that, but he never gave me an amount, and I think, maybe he doesn't know what the amount is, and
Well,
he
he
should have
needs
it.
to find the amount, because that would really
Yeah, we,
be really helpful.
so, that's it for
Because you can use
discussion
that
on
money
buses.
Transportation,
What's that?
because you can use that money in transportation.
Yes, and just like, well, here's the funny part, that $100,000 that was given to us from PSFA, I got the award and I over it, cause I had you sign for it, remember, you came in, and I put on there that we're gonna use it for fire panel. And then 2 days after that, I had this discussion with Paul, and we could use that money for the bus. But either way, money's money, we're still gonna have to get. Okay, so if we use $100,000 for the fire panel there, that could free $100,000 from SB9 so that we can use it for that or whatever, so.
We don't have any idea what the fire panels are gonna cost.
Not yet.
I am gonna see a guesstimation of anywhere between 500,000 to 800,000. It's expensive.
I would also, when you were talking to Mr. Castillo,
Yes.
because he was the attorney that handled the bond,
Mm-hmm.
I would ask him about that was part of the bond,
That was supposed to be
money
for that.
money that was delegated from the bond.
So
So
if,
that need, I would ask him about getting that,
It's already spent, so.
if we get,
yeah, that it was presented to the public.
That's-
This is
It was
but
what-
it was gonna be used
But
for that.
also,
Yeah,
it was a go bond, which meant they didn't have to do what they presented to us.
Well, my understanding, and I don't know clearly, but my understanding is that SB9 monies that we're getting now, this was part of the fire panels are supposed to be part of what this money was gonna be used, that's what you're talking about.
I'm not talking about SB9.
No.
No,
I'm
I'm
talking
talking
about
about the go bond.
that bond money, the $7.whatever
Yeah.
million that we spent up here and the
Yeah.
offices and stuff like that. The fire alarm systems were part of that.
So we've looked at the high end of it at 800,000. We looked at close to 400,000 that we could move around in extra money, right?
Yes.
And then there would have been $400,000 left over in SB9 money after we use whatever we're gonna use for the track. And you'll see now that we're asking to reallocate that money. I think that if things go as planned, I'm planning for the higher end of it, $800,000. Even with that amount, I think we can still get it done with extra monies and with the 400,000 and still have the money to get the track done next year.
Then you get the PSA money.
Well, that's gonna go, cause there's like 300-some thousand that we got from ESSER, and then the 100,000 added to that, plus the 400,000 that we would've had left over in SB9 after doing the track. So I think it's gonna be doable to be able to do the fire panels and the track this year, but then we would be, well, SB9.
And the state does nothing to help us out on the fire
PSFA,
panels?
PSFA is weird because, I don't wanna say it, but if you look at have these beautiful buildings, because they get like 80%, PSFA will pay for 80% of it, and the community only has to pay for 20%. Whereas schools like us and Des Moines and all the schools in this area, we're lucky if we get 8 to 10% that they pay for us, then we have to fork out the 90%. It's a bad kind of calculation. I don't even like dealing with PSFA, but
PSFA and Mexico Finance Authority,
they're hard,
I know, but, I mean, do they do the same thing, basically?
basically,
Do they?
yeah.
I mean, or does New Mexico Finance Authority just like kind of, they're like hovering over you to
yeah.
see what you're using it?
They hold the money in, I should say.
Okay, but you don't ever receive money through them?
We request it from them.
You request it from them, okay. But they don't?
It's like a note. They hold it in escrow. It's an escrow. And we have to beg for it.
All right, moving to financial matters, consideration and approval of financial reports.
Okay, the financial reports for August are in your packet. The bank accounts student activity, $159,345.21. The athletic account, $8,534.54. And we had to move $10,000 over to our Dragonfly to pay our referees for the year. So that's why that one's short or small. The operational, $3,045,009.22. And then we did receive our SEG deposit in the amount of $461,334.07. And then our expenses, Tyler Technology, Western States Fire Protection, three strands therapy, and then all of our payroll deductions for a total of $467,287.27.
Did they do pretty well in the, barbecue, did they make quite a bit of money,
I think
the
that
athletic barbecue?
The football barbecue.
No, Tracy would know exactly. Because she
I guess we
she
should
takes
write
every
that
one of
down.
those
I know it was
deposits.
sold
Yeah.
out before 3:00. so
Right.
that's good.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm sure they did, she would know, I mean, I can get you.
Oh, don't worry about that, I just.
That 10,000 you said you had to pay for we pay them in advance,
No,
No.
oh,
Go
we,
for it.
we
the
put it,
referees?
we have it, in Dragonfly, and then we pay them out of that account.
So you kind of, it's basically sitting there
Yeah.
and they just pull from it.
So, we would have had to use that money anyway. What we decided to do this year, it was kind of like Arbiter last year. Referees kind of signed up to Arbiter, now they're signed up to Dragonfly. And so we have assigners that assign the referees to us, and then, Mrs. Montoya will figure out what it is that each one of them is gonna get paid. And so we had to take that $10,000 and put it in there so we can use it. We kind of projected it based on how much we spent last year on referees. And so then now the beautiful thing about it is that once they come and, Mrs. Montoya figures out how much they're gonna get paid, she just hits one button and they get a direct deposit.
Kind of like a Venmo.
Yeah, and we don't have to worry doing requisitions for them, we don't have to worry about getting, W-9s, we don't have to do any of that. 1099s, Dragonfly does all that for us, and there's no money that we actually, requisition again, we have to do so. But we would have, I think $10,000 is an overestimation, because I think last year we spent like 7,000. But
Yeah.
we put enough money in there so that we wouldn't, and if we had to, we'd move more, but at the end of the year, if we have to, we could move it out of there, and then we'll start another year.
Okay. Madam President, I move that we approve the financial report.
Second.
It's been moved by Rick Baker, seconded by John Trujillo to approve the financial reports. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Financial reports have been approved. Consideration of approval of bars and transfers. I see we have bars, but no transfers, right?
Correct. We have 3 bars to be approved tonight. Education fellows, family income index, and that's for the junior high, and the GOB, bond for the library fund. We had money sitting in there, and Claudia put in. She needs money.
Needs money, Jeff.
So we found some, so we just need to get that.
Madam President, I make a motion to approve the bars.
Second.
Been moved by Levi Irwin, seconded by Mike Barnes to approve the bars. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Bars have been approved. Action items. Consideration and approval of, thank you, by the way. Seems like you're doing a really great job.
Thank you.
Consideration and approval of the reallocation of SB9 funds from track project to replacing fire panels at all school sites.
Yes, ma'am. President, members of the board, like I said, I think we're gonna have enough money to do both, but I wanna make sure that we have enough to get fire panels down. done, so that's why I'd like to, see if you guys would approve the reallocation of the money so we can get that done.
So reallocate this, we'll have to come back for the track to do that again, right?
They couldn't get it done anyways.
They couldn't do it this year anyway?
I know.
Yeah, so hopefully by the time they can say they can get the track done, we've already have the fire panels in and I'll know how much money we have left over to be able to do that. So then it would be just coming in and saying, you know, we just need to, get approval to do the track.
So how do you eliminate the previous?
I don't,
Or is it?
How much was it that we approved?
$664,000 for the track.
well, when we do it like this, the reallocation of the money, we wouldn't have to
What do you,
strike the price previous
No,
one.
because you reallocate money.
So it's the same money,
You just
same
reallocate.
motion, just changing it to a different.
Allocate it to
Okay.
different funds.
Okay.
Just want to get that clear.
Just so it's back in his.
you're not gonna jump at it this time?
I'll make a motion to approve the reallocation of the SB 9 funds for the track project. Go to replacing the fire panels in all schools.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved by Rick Baker, still flattered. Moved by Rick Baker, seconded by Mike Barnes. To approve the reallocation of SB 9 funds from track project to replacing fire panels at all school sites. Any discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? The reallocation of SB 9 funds from track project to replacing fire panels at all school sites has been approved. And action item B, consideration approval of the purchase of Powermatic Sander Drill Impact Kit and 3 HP jointer for industrial arts wood shop. Who writes this?
I copied
Oh,
it.
goodness.
They gave me, but Madam President, members of the board, this is it's a big, is it a planer or a sander? It's a sander, it's the big one that's been there for years. It's starting, we've had to, give it a jump start a couple of times, Tim's had to go in there, and it's getting ready just to give out. And we need to get it replaced, because I think that piece of equipment is the heartbeat of the shop. We're very proud of our shop and the work that's being done in there, and I just think that we need, it gets back to, like I said earlier, Mrs. Leal, we have to get our kids the best possible things that we can get them, and I think that, you know, to help out Mr. Doherty, I think it's that piece of equipment and order something new. The least expensive is out of Burns Do It Center there in Text Line, and in talking to Mr. Doherty, he's pretty confident that they would get him exactly what he needs. So I would just like to see if you guys would approve that we move forward with the purchase of this sander. And my recommendation is that we go with Burns Do It Center out of Text Line, so that we can get that going and get it to it as soon as possible to get installed.
I'd just like to say the prices that they quoted, if it's the exact Powermatics and stuff, those are really good quotes.
Okay.
That's a lot cheaper than you can get anywhere else.
So with that, we need to jump on it then.
I move to approve the allocation of purchases for the,
We have to say the whole thing.
I have to say consideration, because that's what we're doing for. I move to approve the reallocation of the purchase of the Powermatic Standard Drill Impact Kit, 3-wood power junior and industrial wood shop.
Do you have to add from?
From Burns.
Burns.
Oh, yeah, for they purchased them from Burns.
I'll second the motion.
It's It's been moved by Mike Barnes, seconded by John Trehill to approve the purchase of a Powermatic standard drill impact kit and 3 HP jointer for industrial arts woodshop from Burns Lumber. Any discussion?
I have some discussion. So on this quote from Burns, there's the Powermatic sander. Below it says Powermatic 3A sander. And that's, and then it has the drill impact kit. And then it's got Sheen for $454 and a Rolls shop towel for $129 and then a joiner. So are they asking us entire purchase from Burns, which is exceeding what we're supposed to be considering?
So I see what you're saying. So we're just looking at the Powermatic standard, drill impact kit, and 3 HP joiner, right?
There's two sanders on there.
Yeah, but one's 17,000, 1,000.
1,500.
1,500. Oh, it'd be something different.
They're not
Does
with
anybody know anything about that?
Yep.
They're not with paramedics, so.
Yes, they both are paramedics. One of them's
One's a WB 37, the other one's a 31.
But look at the difference right
Yeah,
there.
this
I mean,
one-
if we're gonna approve this entire purchase for
But is this
26,000 or,
something you're saying on this?
It's just, it's gonna be so.
so, does you know anything about that?
The one said it's
Mr.
a smaller one.
Superintendent.
This is a smaller one.
Okay, so
I know, but I'm just saying.
the thing is that you only have to approve for anything that purchases over 5,000.
Understand that.
My understanding is that
So these
you're
other,
not gonna get both of them, you're gonna get one of them, and so
So
Mr.
these-
Gordon explained to me how he was gonna do it, he just was excited that he wanted to get the Burns one.
so the smaller sander and impact.
I think what you're looking at is you're looking at the first two sanders, that's, one of those is one of these are purchased, and then everything else underneath it comes with it.
So you have Powermatic WB 37 sander for $17,000.
Yes.
$490. Then you have a Powermatic 3 horsepower jointer for $6,299.
Yes.
All these other items are under your $5,000 threshold. So on here it says drill impact kit, which is under, according to this, the 5,000 threshold. So are we gonna eliminate those 3 items from our deal and come up with a different total to allocate, or?
Does that matter, or we're just saying get it from Burns? I
Well,
mean,
this still
in
gets
the
it from
motion.
Burns, but it's a different quote number.
But in the
And the money-
motion.
And I would think we would want the quote number as in our motion.
Mhm.
I don't think that it's gonna exceed the 26,000.
Well, I realize that, but I'm just saying, there's other items on this quote. If we give them a total of $26,308.52, that includes
All of that.
another $2,500 on other stuff. And in the action item, it was listed a drill impact kit, which is under the threshold, so that didn't even need to be, if we're
So
gonna,
if you look at the number, the second item in there, it's not $15,000, it's 1,500.
no, I said 1,500.
Oh, okay. I thought
That's
you-
under the $5,000 threshold, is what
Okay.
I'm saying. Are we gonna do this as a package?
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's what he's asking for, yes, is the package.
This
That's
is
why I'm
like a
bringing it to you.
package deal, right?
Yeah.
This whole deal?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Because-
then
because
it
you-
doesn't
you
need to
get all
be
these.
specific to what's on here.
It just needs
No, so he's asking for so they're asking for an approval for a purchase package.
Right.
This, all
And
this.
so this shouldn't be written on the minutes the way it's written on the minutes. because that means we're just approving
Just the standard.
just a sander, which there's two of them on there, we don't know which one, and the impact and the joiner.
Yeah,
So we should have just said quote number.
because you have a quote over here
Or listed everything.
from Elite Metal Tools for a sander only.
Right.
Then you have another quote, oh, they have another, this is also the same
This
thing.
is the same thing.
It's got,
So it's elite, and then you got the one in the back.
Machine and the,
Yeah.
there's actually two sanders,
Yes.
This is a belt disc sander. It's the same 131
the only difference in the Burns deals, there's some add-ons with a roll, a towel deal, and a sheen free kit or
We're
whatever.
cheaper than all of it.
And it's still cheaper than any of these other quotes.
Right.
So I think
I
we need
need-
to redo the
I move to
motion.
amend my motion and, by striking out Powermatic sander, drill impact kit, 3 horsepower joiner and industrial arts, and, add place, that with, the bid from Burns Lawn for equipment and supplies for the wood shop. From Burns Lawn.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
make that clear than that.
Okay. It's been moved by Mike Barnes and John Treehill to approve the purchase of equipment and supplies for wood shop from Burns. To amend the motion
By striking out.
by striking out Powermatic sander, drill impact kit, and 3 HP jointer, and inserting equipment and supplies for wood shop from Burns Hardware, Burns Do It Center,
You looked at that one, yeah.
For the amount.
Yes.
for the amount of $26,308.52. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right,
Now I make a
so,
motion to accept the motion as amended.
I second that.
okay, it's been moved by Rick Baker, seconded by Mike Barnes to accept the motion as amended. Any discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed. Okay, okay, so the purchase of equipment and supplies, wood shop from Burns Do It Center has been approved. Okay, got it.
On behalf of Mr. T. Doherty, thank you.
Yes. Okay,
And all the kids, yeah.
items suggested for future meetings.
I open meetings, if you guys want to do it. I don't know if we have to do it. That's just something that they said at the REC meeting. I can,
No.
you want me to call Gino and ask him?
Isn't that part of our policy?
On the time, well, it is. Well,
That's like having a motion on the
I don't
Constitution every
understand
year.
why,
You want me to just call Gino and ask him?
I mean, we're bound by the, or if you're talking to him already.
Cause he even said that that's something that if we don't get it approved in a board meeting, that the, Attorney General, we would have to answer to him. So, I would just,
It's a threat.
If it's already,
yeah,
it's already in
I'm
policy,
just,
why do you have to approve it?
yeah, that's what he said, he had it on our, the meeting, and we just approved it, and
Okay, why don't you ask about that?
Yeah.
Then we'll put it on there. And then, any other information about the sign at the chamber?
nothing, I haven't talked to anybody, I don't know what happened there. It's like, it
Okay,
just,
all
you
right.
know, with
Just kinda,
radio silence, so I don't know what happened there.
and then anything else that comes up, please send it my way.
What about starting, Mesa Lands, the electric wind towers?
That's what I
Is
like.
that coming back, or have you heard anything?
What, I'm sorry,
The Mesa Lands sending seniors to train with Mesa According to the president, COVID.
they talked about, they have the, I know that there was a major cut in funding, according to what the RDC said, but we still have, Kristen Forster, that she was the superintendent there at Maxwell. She's working with the, CTE programs and so forth, and they have the drone stuff that's going on and the wind energy and so forth. It was never mentioned about taking kids to Mesa Lands and so forth, but I can get a call in there to Christian and find out what the deal is. But I do know that the drones program and the wind energy stuff is still going and so forth, because we were talking about dates. Because we're trying to pick times when there's maybe not, whatever. Of course, it's not, but it may not even be football players or volleyball players or athletes that are participating, but in the last couple of times it was some more athletes that, so I was asked to get together with Cody in Des Moines and us figure out a date where they could come and do the 3-day training for us, so that we wouldn't conflict with anything else. But I could definitely call and see what's going on with
Has their satellite campus thing evaporated?
It's gone to the air. President he got everything he wanted, and then I reached out to, there was a guy was it you that talked to him, you and I? From Mesa Lands, that he said he was taking over, and so he said he was gonna go back and push the issue, and I received 2 emails from him, and then I haven't heard anything from him ever again, so I don't know what happened with the president, if he's still there or what's going on. It was great, but then it's not great.
Thank you.
Anything else, guys? Is anything we're gonna have to get approved for the coming board meeting?
So, the next,
Go ahead, tell them.
the next school board meeting on the 19th, that's the start of fall break, just so you're aware. That's the first day of fall break.
So you guys are technically off.
Yes.
We're not off.
We're not off.
That's what he said to me too, and I was like, so, just throwing it out there.
What is that, the 19th of November?
Not November yet, but yeah.
How many days are fall break is?
19th, 20th, and 21st.
Oh, really? For the 26th. So financially, with your financial reports, the 26th would be better? That would be better. Okay. Is that, okay, awesome.
Me too.
We can handle it.
We can do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for speaking up.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
Now,
You didn't
Really don't care, because I gotta be here with the wage.
Ray was like 2 weeks ahead for, was it this meeting?
Yeah.
It's all happening, and I'm looking at it, and oh,
COVID, right.
I saw that too, and so I go up to the school to get my packet like a month ago. Nobody there?
yes.
It's like, it was a weird,
Okay.
Madam President, I move for your,
no, it's
Executive
yours.
session.
executive session.
Can I say something real quick? I do wanna, acknowledge, Priscilla Sena. I've given her some, extra duties with the athletics, doing our trip tickets and our meals and so forth. And she's working very, very hard, and it's, she takes care of all the trip tickets, so the coaches, AD doesn't have to do it, she does the meals and so forth, and she's doing an excellent job with it. She sent out a spreadsheet to all the people involved, letting them know what time they leave and so forth, so I just wanted to acknowledge her and let you guys know that I'm very, happy with the work that she's doing for us, and she's willing to do anything I ask her to do, so, I just need to let her know, let you guys know that she's doing an excellent job.
Very good. Motion to go into executive session.
Madam President, I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
It's been moved by Irwin, seconded by Baker to go into executive session. Any discussion? We will need a roll call vote.
Levi Irwin, aye.
Monticello,
Emily, we will go into executive session discussing limited personnel matters, quarterly superintendent evaluation. Can we stay here? Can we pause that and stay here?
Sure.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
thanks, guys, good night.